Thanks for joining us for this episode of Coffee with Closers, where business leaders share insights on how to build businesses from the ground up and best practices for innovating in their industry.
Today I'm sitting down with Ricardo. He's the founder of Route. He has several different businesses, one of which is a SaaS product that he built. So today we have the privilege of hearing from him some of the things that he did to build his tech SaaS startup that he just started.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, Ricardo, for the audience that never heard of you, can you share a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, like you touched on it, built a couple different businesses, all in the same space though. The companies are called Route, Regalado Services, and Rosa Contractors, but they all have to do with facility services, right? So I entered into the space, which we can get into later, but I entered into the space with Regalado, and it is a commercial cleaning and maintenance company.
Mm-hmm. And for the little bit, can you give a little overview of what Route does?
Yeah, so came up with this crazy idea of Route to solve a lot of my own pain points, right? I was dealing with a lot of issues with leveraging the tribal knowledge in my head and sharing that knowledge with the entire team, so I didn't have to get stuck on doing everything myself. It's all about delegation, and there was nothing out there. I assumed there was a software for it, but not for our space and not for the 1, 2, 3 step that we call it that you do in our space. So we're in a great technology city, so found the right people, started building the right product.
And so what does Route help a field service company do?
So like the 1, 2, 3 step, like I said, just picture, there's the sales call, there's the walkthrough of a facility, there's preparing an estimate or a quote, and then there's preparing the proposal that you're going to submit to the client for the services you're going to provide. Mm-hmm. So we've digitized that whole front 1, 2, 3 to allow business operators to also have their team get involved with that and sell better, sell faster, sell together.
So what was the problem in the industry in terms of how they were doing it in the olden days?
Yeah, I mean, it's your traditional pen and paper, right? I know it in my head. I don't need anything to tell me what this quote's going to be. This is going to be like a 3-person, 4-hour, 5-day-a-week account. Mm-hmm. It's great. I was that guy too. I still am that guy. I could come up with a quote on a job, but that doesn't help scale. That doesn't help you grow your business where others can get involved and they can get involved in the sales process. So if you want to perform, X amount of walkthroughs or submit X amount of bids and proposals, if you don't use a digital approach to that, it's time consuming. You could spend a whole day on a walkthrough that you did in the morning, work on the estimate in the afternoon, work on the proposal later in the evening, and not get it to your client till the next day, while in that whole duration, the 3 or 4 other companies already submitted a bid.
Most certainly, and I think the biggest problem small businesses have is time, and time is money. Yeah. The longer it takes you to produce an estimate and get to the customer, it's delaying that entire sales process.
That's the number one thing, is we only have so much time. So let's leverage the time that we do have and let the team get involved, and you'd be surprised how people pick it up, and if with Route, it's just a very user-friendly app, and it's both app and web, so everybody's able to get involved, right? I always use a perfect example of, I could be here in Chicago, somebody could perform a walkthrough in Philadelphia, I could work on the estimate here, they could submit the proposal in Philadelphia. It's been done, we do it. We're doing that next week for a job in North Carolina. I'm going, I'm testing my own product in the field for my cleaning company, and the team back at home will finish the proposal for me. That's powerful. That's just never been able to be done before.
That's awesome. So essentially you had a service company, you were doing a cleaning business, you ran into some wall, and then you realized there's got to be a better way to do this, which led you into create a SaaS company.
Yes.
Building a service company is not the same as building a SaaS company. So
absolutely not.
What are some lessons you learned in that process of building a SaaS company?
You got to have a very cool looking office. You got to have food available for the young guys to eat. It's just a lot of funny things that are funny, but you have to, if you want to recruit talent and you want to have the guys and the girls that work in the new age of technology companies, you got to have the space, the workplace environment, the structure, the benefits. It's not that I don't have it for the service company, but it's a family business, right? My family-owned business is, my mom, my aunt, my uncle, my cousin, my wife. They all work for us, right? So it's a different paced environment. Everybody performs at a different level. Where now technology, people can perform while they're working at home. Now, I've never dealt with that before, right? Performance-based metrics. I asked my CTO, I'm like, I love that we talk on Slack, but I need collaboration. I need everybody to be here. Well, they can get some of the same work done at home or from 1871 or from the coffee shop around the corner, just as productive. And I wasn't used to that. I'm still learning how to deal with the different personalities.
But that's just one aspect of it, which is kind of creating the culture and the people aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
But the whole other slew of things that comes along when you're trying to build a SaaS product, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the service company, you're probably selling a couple of $1,000s, if not more,
Yeah.
in terms of a monthly commitment from a customer.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, your SaaS product isn't that expensive to subscribe to, right?
Yeah, so you got service side business, average contracts like $4,800, $5,200 a month. And it's simple as far as it's a service you're offering, they looked for you, you provide the service, and it's a contract, and you really just do the job that you're supposed to do. With technology and SaaS, it's a subscription plan. So we've got 2 plans, but you're having to learn how to acquire the customer, how to keep the customer, how to check retention, right? You have this, churn, you have burn, there's so many different terminology now that I have to get used to, and you have to have analytics. Not that I don't have analytics for the service business, but my God, do you need analytics for a SaaS-based company.
Most certainly. And I think the fun part is, like, I'm building a very scalable business. Once I have, a critical mass of users, it's nothing but profit because, you build a product, you can reuse it, doesn't matter. You have Amazon Web Services, it doesn't matter, 1,000 users on it. It doesn't cost you anything extra, right? So that's the upside of it. It's extremely.
That's what got me excited.
It's extremely scalable, but on the downside is that you try to build a platform, build a customer base, right? It's an extremely expensive endeavor when you're trying to build a SaaS business.
Yeah,
was that the experience you had as well?
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, right? I knew I had to find the right team. So luckily, with 1871 being here, I found my CTO there, I found my chief marketing officer there, I found my biz dev team there, my data scientists, right? So I got a core group of guys that are working in the same office. So it's being incubated in my existing office. So they're seeing the pain points down there, right? But the fact that you have to just prepare and have daily stand-ups, and you've got to communicate with each other, and everybody's got to have these goals and milestones. It hurts now, but what the future is. Like last night, we had a company from Canada sign up. I got a company from Mexico that signed up. We've got companies from Australia that want to use the product. I can't do that with the service business. I can't grow that fast, that quick. We've got over almost 100 customers on the platform. Like 80 are paying customers. So it's that whole thing too, is you would never do a 30-month free trial for my service business. Here in SaaS, it's part of the game. You have to give them the opportunity to sign on and try the product, and then convert them as a customer. But once you do, and you have retention, and you have long-term value, these are customers that will be there for a long time. And in the beginning it hurts because, again, you have an X amount salary customer success, but that guy could handle 100 plus, 200 plus customers. So very scalable, but in the beginning it's tough.
Most certainly. And I think earlier you were talking about how the reason why you came up with this software is because you realized there's a mathematical equation you figured out, right? You got to have this many field visits, and you got to give this many estimates, which turns into this many proposal that close into a certain number of new business, right? And then the same thing is true from a SaaS product standpoint, right? Because you had to have this many trials that turn into this many actual paying customer that actually sticks around and returns some sort of an actual lifetime value for you as a company.
Yeah.
So how did you even learn some of this framework that you talked about, like the kind of conducting the business as a SaaS business, right? Like all the things that goes along in building and managing a SaaS business. How did you even come alongside of learning all that?
It's really picking up some books, watching a lot of podcasts, talking to mentors. I'm big on collaborating with mentors. If I don't know something, I ask. We have an angel investor who's on the team, on the board with us. He came from the space, so he's been very helpful on pushing us and really setting milestones and challenging us. I don't have that many no people all the time, right? So to have people that criticize and are the no's, I wasn't used to that. So it was very like, all right, I did this wrong. All right, this guy's calling me out. So it's been good, and I just ask. This is a great city with a lot of people that have done it, have failed. So we failed like 2 or 3 times in the beginning. Outsourced to engineering. First of all, hired the wrong full stack engineer. Very first hire, bad hire. Outsourced. wasn't the direction we should have gone in. We need business logic. I need the person here next to me. So we're already at a couple failures that we learned really quickly from. So now it's new milestones of how to price, how to roll out a new feature where we could increase pricing. Are we too affordable? Are we too expensive? It's, every day is a new stand-up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you said basically why was hiring that full stack developer early on was a mistake.
So the first my first person that I brought on his name was Joe. He came on to really be a consultant and just I had this idea and I said, hey, can you help me with just technology in general with my cleaning and maintenance company? And I pitched him the idea and he was like, man, you got something in it. So we entered into a competition, won the pitch competition. So then we're like, all right, well, let's start to build it. We got the wireframes, and I've started to learn how to use Envision and Sketch and all that. So I'm trying to teach myself a lot of these things, but full stack engineering, we both didn't exactly know what to look for. So we really didn't even know how to hire right in the beginning. So we were learning that, and we saw that we made a bad hire. We collectively came together, me and he's a co-founder now, and we said, hey, we can't do it this way. We have to have somebody in our corner, and that's when we found our at the time our CTO that came on and changed the game on development for us. It's if I could recommend things, that's having somebody in house. Man, it's been so much better for us. As if I'm going to be a software technology solution, especially in SaaS, you got to have in house.
Most certainly. So I think before we even started talking, we were talking about some of the key hires that you've made. You have a CTO, you have a product guy, you also have the CMO, all those different key roles that you hired, and which means, a lot of times the SaaS companies come from the visionary idea man, or it could be a product guy who's a developer by trade who decided to build a product, right?
Yeah.
Where do you fall? Where do you think you fall in terms of that spectrum, in terms of where your skill set is?
So I've been told, and I've kind of realized it myself too, is I like to empower people. I like to challenge, I like to lead, I like to create a great culture for the teams that I have. But I knew where my strengths, I continue to build on those. My weaknesses, I go find somebody who's better than me at it. And that's what I really did, is, marketing, I have a degree, but not with technology. So brought Joe in. He knew product and he knew some back-end code too, so he was able to say that, Rick, we made a bad hire. Let's go find the right person for us. We interviewed a couple, we found, Mitesh, who's our CTO right now, hit it off, and it was the best approach I could have taken, because I've got the best of all worlds, right? I've got Joe, who's a hungry hybrid of self-taught code and SEO, content marketing. Mitesh, who's just hungry, has built businesses, realized he's not a CEO, he's more of a CTO guy, and he's a teacher. So we found the junior level our full stack engineer, and he did a great job teaching them. So I've really built the product with 2 engineers, which we've gotten a lot of compliments to say, wow, to build that with just a 2-person team, it's a good accomplishment. But we're not done. Now we need 2.0.
Most certainly. So how was the go-to-market strategy? What did you do to take the product to market and get over 80 clients that are paying you today?
So we went live June, July last year. But we already started going to convention shows before that. So we went to brand. Branding is everything for me. If you go to my office, I got freaking R's all over the place. I'm lucky that I have R as a part of all 3 of the companies. But we did it to just start to get feedback and to tell people what we were going to be working on, because the benefit of us is I'm from the industry, so I used it first. Beat it up, fixed the bugs, told the team's there, so they're testing the product, and we figured out quickly how to what we had to fix to really then go to market. Then we had a convention show that we went to market with, and that was our big launch party. That was in November of last year. So the first 3 months, we winged it. As far as to the point, I take it back, not winged it, but organic. We did very much of an outbound approach, because we didn't have the funds to put a $5,000 a month Google ad campaign. So we went to Facebook, we went to Instagram. We found that social media could be a good channel for us, because the SMB and owner-operator market, who we were targeting, they're there. They're hungry. They want to learn. Everybody's got questions. They want to build on their sales and grow their business. But the show was our game changer. We came there. We made a statement, we made an impact. And because we approached it the way we did, where we're the first front-end sales solution that leads into ops, even though what you would think are the competitors, we're open to talking, because we end where they start. So there could be some good marriages, which in the end, people know me as a guy that is empowering our cleaning industry. This works out for everybody. If I can create an ecosystem with the different software solutions, the small mom and pop that is, because 85% of the market's under $1 million in revenue, those guys can start to make 6, or 7 figures, grow a business, scale their business. We should have more of those, and technology, if you don't get on board, you are going to fall behind.
Do you foresee maybe adding the operation component to the back end of this so you can actually do the scheduling and managing the crew and things of that nature?
We had thought of it, and we actually did it to start. When we first 6 months ago started, we had ops, we had job scheduling, we had elements of operation. But to build that out, it would take years to get there. When we said it was a pivotal moment, we're like, all right, are we a end-to-end, or are we a front-end sales solution that can plug in with everybody else? Let's be a front-end sales solution that we can plug in with everybody else, because then we can build a phenomenal front-end product and then still leverage the relationships of the other companies, because again, I know them because of the cleaning business. So it's just, I don't see that we need to. That's why our engineer built such a great integratable product. Let's be that, and then continue, right? Proposals, we're already going to do 2.0. We want to drag and drop. We want to make it customizable. The audience or the customers have requested that. So if we listen to the ones that want time and attendance and scheduling and this and that, well, that's a rabbit hole. We'll be building product for the next 4 or 5 years without having a refined, completed product. So again, people said no to me. I was like,
well, that's the big revelation.
I want to do everything.
That's a big revelation, because that's the biggest, like you said, is the biggest weakness mini software has. It gets bloated with feature. You want to do everything. Yeah, it gets bloated with a feature, and it serves nobody, because it becomes so complicated that people can't even properly maximize the tool set.
And that was a great compliment at the show. The fact that you guys realize that now, is like, it took us 10 builds, to figure out that we didn't need to do everything. That somebody's going to come in, be great at one part of the product, and just integrate with them. So that's what I love technologies. And I use that on the other businesses, and I give those recommendations to people where you don't have to be competitors, man. There's so much business even for me, like here in Chicago. People don't, cleaning's not glamorous, but it's a close to recession-proof industry. So why not build solutions for that kind of a space?
Most certainly. And I think one of the things that you've just touched on, if you build a technology that complements other solutions out there, it actually gives you opportunity to create strategic partnerships.
Yeah, sales channels.
You can strategically partner with some of those other operations software and say, hey, let us have a referral model where you can refer each other out.
And we're talking about that. That's what we're talking about now. I knew it made sense. We've done referral programs, but I didn't really know that in a SaaS environment, there's actually programs for it, and you do it purposely.
Yeah.
So that was great.
And I don't know what your exit strategies. I know you're just getting started with it. The possible opportunities are the companies that are trying to get into this space would say, well, why go build it? I can just actually acquire the entire customer base and the IP all with it.
Exactly.
So there's that opportunity.
That's the end game.
Most certainly.
That's definitely the end game.
So you've definitely have learned a lot in such a short, compact time frame, which is I congratulate you for that, because I think as the founder, and like you got creative ideas, you're like, hey, let's do this, let's do that, right? And you don't have a focus, then you're not going to get anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And you could be forever developing without having a good product market fit or having a good track record of growth.
Yeah, I'm an idea guy, so, and I have many departments in the other business. I've learned so much from the other business to know how to lead this team now, where I come up with ideas all the time, but they've done a very good job at keeping me focused. And I catch myself too, but I love to be able to have a voice or a vehicle to say that to somebody or a team, and we whiteboard it, right? I got like 15,000 whiteboards in our office. Now I'm just gonna scratch and put whiteboard paint, but it's awesome when you're talking shop and brainstorming, because then that's where I tell others is do that, because at some point that's gonna come to life, and you've got to start somewhere,
Well, that's the part of it, right? Like an entrepreneur, we're always full of ideas, but then you need to have some sounding board that can validate your ideas or say, hey, let's scratch this. That's not going to work because we probably had some prior experience doing that.
And that's what it was easy for in this scenario. So, when you talk to VCs or you talk to early stage investors here in Chicago, especially, they're, a little bit more conservative, but for a reason, right? But that's what I've learned too, is it's not just because I've done it in the other industry doesn't mean I could do it here. So I have to go through the milestones, the trials and tribulation, learn and understand that it takes time. You gotta do it right. You can't. It's not all about moonshot ideas. It's if you create a profitable company, then you can reach different stages of success.
Most certainly. So since you brought up the idea of venture funds and things of that nature, you mentioned with your prior businesses, it was all self-funded, mostly run by family members. You never had to get outside funds at all. Now you're building a SaaS company where your revenue is going to take a lot more growth before you can actually fund the back office team that's building the product, marketing, things of that nature. So you've mentioned you're in the process of kind of entertaining the idea of going and raising money. So talk to me a little bit about your thought process of kind of coming to that realization, well, I do need extra cash. I really need to scale this company. So about that.
I knew that time was going to come. And about a year and a half ago, I was like, all right, here's our runway. Here's what I know the cost is going to be. We're really bootstrapping the build of this technology. So at some point, you have your family and current company like, man, do we really need to do that? Or do we just continue to build this? And that company's growing. It doubles in revenue every year, and it's on a great trajectory. So on the other side, again, knowing it, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to find investors. I'm gonna have to pitch. I'm gonna have to take on outside money. There's gonna have to be other people who are involved in decision making when I've been the one making all the decisions. But I'm open. I'm okay with that. So it was just now it's finding the right investors. At first, it's like you talk to anybody. But then I did my homework. I'm speaking to certain people. There's certain investors that you feel like, man, that was a great coffee session. He asked me all the right questions. She's interested. And then you do the follow-up, then you do the follow-on. But everybody's interested if they know that you're a domain expert, if you found some pain points that you're solving, you go to market, you have a product market fit, right? There's all these check boxes. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I'm hitting all the check boxes, but we're still, we're too early, right? We're still a new company and I can tell this because I always thought to myself, man, how are these companies raising hundreds of millions of dollars and they're not even profitable? And that's something I'm still learning, where I'm like, all right, well, I don't need to truly know that part. All I need to know is, can I be profitable? At that point, if I can be profitable, that's what I got to worry about. Because then investment will come, and you'll find the right strategic people.
Most certainly. And it still doesn't make sense for me sometimes where some of these companies are able to raise hundreds of millions of dollars with $0 to show for it.
It's a pre-concept. I'm like, I got it. I've got revenue now.
What I think where you need the most success would be like that, the scaling the customer acquisition aspect of it. How can you do it at a very fast pace?
Because it's a low subscription plan too. So they worry about, at $100 a month, because I'm learning is you need to get to X amount of customers just to be sexy, or glamorous. Because it's not a consumer product. This is a B2B, but everybody will.
And then I think what you also need to figure out is, can you make it a self-service model where you have little to no salesperson involved in terms of onboarding this person, right? Self-demo it, self-try, like they're going through the trial. So if you can drive as many quality visitors to the site and convert them into a 14-day or 30-day trial that converts into a paying customer automatically with no salesperson involved, then you're considerably lowering your cost of acquisition. Right?
I mean, we cut ours in half for that same reason. We've got self-serve. We've got people signing up at 1 in, paying for the subscription, and they didn't even do a demo. They're going straight to just using the product, which is great. But on the other hand, too, it's like, do they really know what they're doing?
Correct.
We've got to jump on that person. So we've got a pretty cool, 3rd day, 7-day, 14-day. We've got a timeline on when we should touch these customers.
Most certainly, and I think that's where you need a very good customer success team, and also having a good back office support structure with video guides and things of that nature where they can train themselves.
You're talking my language. That's exactly we got documentation. We've got the videos. We've got how to get started in 8
in-app
steps.
chats and things like that.
You need it. We may not see the return yet right now this minute, but as you start to scale, and you get bombarded with having a good spark of 15 signups in one day. Well, who's going to get to those 15? I see why people are so interested in making sure we're self-service.
Most certainly. So obviously you've successfully built a SaaS company. You learned a lot in the process of dealing with some of the fires that you had to deal with, as well as having good mentors in your life. So what are some productivity business hacks that you've learned that you think like, hey, these are things that I've never knew before, but it could be game changing for somebody else who's kind of getting started today?
Yeah, I just think managing your time and calendar. I've never used a calendar before, right? Before like this past year and a half, I was just like, oh, I'll remember. No, it's like have an agenda, use your calendar, like literally start your day. Like I learned this from one of the investors that we have. He's a mentor of mine now. He's like, Rick, he texted me real quick, like 3 or 4 months ago. He's like, email and answer and send out all your emails before 9 a.m. And he's like, then don't worry about the rest. In the afternoon, at night, get back to your emails again. He's like, it's in the duration of the day, that's when you got to really be productive, and you get bogged down by emails. And I never knew that more so than I do now.
Yeah, it's the whole concept of batching. I think like batching a certain type of task, so you're now going from email to call to strategy session, going back to email again, and then another call. So you just like scattered throughout the day.
Yeah, it's distracting, and you never think it's going to happen to you. You're like, oh, man, I got this. It's okay. But then you start to not necessarily insult other people, but other people, that's if you're late for their 5:15 meeting, or if you're late for their 2:30 meeting, they're going to be like, he doesn't care as much. So I'm not perfect. I'm still getting there, but I think just your time management, because we said it earlier, time is everything, for not just business, but your personal life too.
Most certainly. So obviously we learned about some of the time management hacks. Are there any other lessons you've learned in terms of being an entrepreneur that you didn't have some of those skills before? Yeah,
I would say just collaboration, because I became an entrepreneur because I never found a fulfilling job that allowed me to be an owner of. I answered to somebody. I was always just a number in the company. So it's like I wanted to make a difference. So then with what I've done with all these businesses is I've learned how to collaborate with what you would think are competitors. Wasn't afraid to ask questions and sit and just turn competitors into colleagues. And I've opened up more sales channels this way. Like I reach out and people are like, why do you work with so many different cleaning contractors? That wouldn't make sense. Why don't you self-perform? Well, if I want to grow into other states, I got to find the right people, and then I found them by using technology. Now in return, they send me business. So it's like it opened up this whole opportunity and just path of sales that I would have, if I stuck to what everybody had said or what people's recommendations are, and this is a very competitive market in commercial cleaning, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So it was like taking a risk and starting to do things that it's okay if I feel like it's okay and it's the right thing for me to do, even though the others said it wasn't, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and you said you actually started a podcast with a couple of your technically competitors, but became almost mentors now. Yeah,
well, we're going. This Friday's our first one. But these are guys, and I'm in another mastermind group with like some big companies throughout the country that we're sharing secrets, right? What you think are secrets, they're not really secrets. I mean, in our industry, everybody uses the same vacuum to vacuum. Everybody uses the same chemicals to clean. Technology-wise, there's only so many apps you can use. So there is no recipe, right? It's how do you take advantage of this the opportunity that's at hand. And these guys they turn into some good friends. Like they're all entrepreneurs. Everybody I talk to are entrepreneurs. One of the guys he owns a suit company. He got involved with that, and he's a trader on the side. The other guy started up 3 brands in his company. The other gentleman is a second gen from his father, owned the cleaning company, but now he sees that he's second gen, so he needs to implement new things. And they like that we can text message each other. Especially, it's people think it's crazy because we're from Chicago too. Like I do this with my mastermind group and we're all over the country, so chances of me competing with them are slim. To be talking to your other Chicago company, it's like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, yeah.
I think the lessons you learn, like, it's the fast route to success, essentially, because you don't make the same mistakes some of these mastermind partners have done, right? So that's the opportunity. Sometimes you have this fear of like, hey, if I share something, I might be giving away some of my secret, but that's really not that's the case.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's almost, I learned a lot from my father too. My father was a very timid and quiet, he didn't speak English, he only spoke Spanish. His job with me I was the highest paying job he's ever had in his life. So we're talking about a guy that really worked blue collar, low income jobs, and our industry is that industry. It's blue collar. It's 12, 13 bucks an hour. So we don't show customers that we have to. I validate that I charge you 30 an hour, right? People, $30 an hour for cleaning? Are you crazy? Yeah, but hold on. I pay this guy $14, $15 an hour. I have taxes, I have insurance, I have workman's comp, I have health insurance. That's what Route does too, is it gives you the breakdown of all that. By the time I'm done, it costs me $26. So yeah, I charge 30 to make a little bit of a profit. If you can show it in a transparent manner, customers start to understand and say, you know what, I'm happier not paying minimum wage. I'll choose your company over the others because I know that you've got all these costs associated with it and you're going to provide a great service.
Most certainly. So, we've talked about a lot of things. You've learned a lot of lessons. Obviously, you've applying some of those lessons into your own business and growing some of those things, right? And if you had an opportunity and you had the opportunity to sit down with Warren Buffett or you had $1 million, which would you choose?
I would do Warren Buffett, Mark Cuban, right? All those guys. I mean, there's so many people I would love to talk to, but it's the wealth of knowledge. I can make money all day, right? I mean, I can learn how to turn $1 into $100, how to turn 100 into $1,000. You can't get into the minds of some of these people that have just done some phenomenal things in their industries. I would take that all day. I do it right now, right? I mean, this morning I had a mentor session with a guy, he's a CMO for a company in our same industry. I could have done that, or I could have gone to the office to make a sale. I wanted to learn some insight from, this guy's done it in a space that I need to continue to learn from. So I went there for instead. It may even cost me money, I had to buy a coffee. So,
are there any parting wisdom that you have for our audience?
Man, I just think being an entrepreneur is taking risk, but there's reward from it. And I would just say, I'm a big fan of empowerment. I use the word a lot. I tell people all the time too, is like, I care about money, but I respect it more than actually, like, it doesn't drive me. What drives me is creating jobs for people. If I could help create jobs, that means that in order for me to hire somebody to put somewhere, whether it's the technology company or the service company, that means somebody's paying me for that. So guess what? I'm making money, right? So if you just start to focus on things a little bit different, and just, you only have so much time, so.
Yeah, I think it's that perspective, right? I think take away the mind from the money-making aspect of it, figure out how can you help others. In the process, you would ultimately benefit. You benefit personally as well.
I'm a living proof of all that. Like everybody that I help, it comes back. I don't even know. I mean, it's crazy how it does. But that's why family's important. There's so many other things important than just money. It's a fruit of your labor, but it's the success of other people is better.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you had this opportunity to sit down with me. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I wish you all the best with your business ventures.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Appreciate it.
This episode of Coffee with Closers is brought to you by One IMS, a leading digital marketing agency helping businesses win new customers. To request a free marketing ROI audit, please visit oneims.com. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. To make sure you never miss an episode, please subscribe.